they change their seats here to there.
Well, good morning. Let's start the service with a song today. Number 361 in the Gray Hymnal, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Please stand in body or spirit. Great way to start the service today. A lot of spirit and enthusiastic group. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice, which we lovingly call UCOV. We are so delighted you have chosen to be with us this morning, and to those watching on YouTube, we hope you enjoy our service. My name is Dave Lyon, and I will be your worship associate this morning. Here at UCOB, we have no creed, but we do have a covenant where we have agreed to treat each other with kindness and respect. Our new values adopted at GA, that's the annual General Assembly of the UU group in the country, this year, the new values state that we declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. All are welcome here. We welcome whoever you are, whomever you choose to love, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. Welcome to church today. And speaking of welcoming, do we have any visitors or guests who are brave enough to raise your hand and have a microphone brought to you and tell us your name and where you're from?
I'm Ann Ivy, and I'm visiting from Denver, and this is my mother, Susan Burgess. She's from Port Charlotte.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hi, everybody. My name is Margie, and I actually go a lot to the Sarasota UU, but I live like 2 blocks from here. Luckily, we have a hybrid, but still, it's very silly. But anyway, this is my mom, and she didn't want to stand up, and it is her first time. That's Mary.
Well, great. Welcome. We're so glad you came today. Anybody else? Are there any, before we put the microphones away, are there anybody that's leaving this week, heading north, that would like to just take a minute and say goodbye? Would you like to say goodbye?
Hi, Bevan Roger, heading north to Massachusetts.
Anybody else want to? Oh,
Roxy Platt, heading north to Massachusetts with sorrow in my heart to leave this place.
we'll miss you. Anybody else want to say goodbye?
We're glad to leave.
Marcia's coming back there. Anybody else back there want to say goodbye? Nope.
Ann Harrison and Lori Priest, we're leaving this week for Massachusetts.
And Annie's done a wonderful job this year with our membership group. We appreciate it so much. We'll miss you.
Hello. But
And
Dean
Linda and Bill are leaving for Massachusetts also.
well,
I
now
saw a
I'm
bus outside for Massachusetts.
now we're going to make a complete. Guess where we're headed, folks? We're headed to Massachusetts. We're sorry to leave you all. We'll be seeing you on Sundays occasionally. We hope.
Anybody else? Less going, gone.
Well, I can tell you that the McNairs are not going anywhere beyond Port Charlotte. So.
It looks like the Massachusetts contingent is leaving us. Is there anybody from Massachusetts that's staying? Yeah, all right. If you'd like to learn any more about us, we've got a wonderful Facebook page and our website at uucov.org. So check us out sometime. Even if you're a member and been here, there's a lot of new stuff on there. Okay. Yep.
Hi, I'm Jean Barlow, and I'm going to miss all of you who are leaving, every single solitary one of you. I'm the birthday girl, and next week, the first Sunday of the month, we do, at refreshment time, birthdays, and next week is May birthdays. So if any of you have not told me you're a May baby, tell me. Catch me afterward, and we'll put you on the list to wish you a special happy birthday. Thanks, Dave.
Okay, Rich Canarelli has an announcement.
I'm from New York, but I went to school in Massachusetts. Does that count? Yesterday, as many of you know, we had Suncoast Citizens for Separation of Church and State and the Alliance for Social Justice had an event at the United Church of Christ. We had Amanda Tyler speak on the topic of is Christian nationalism a threat to your religious freedom. I'm not going to go into the details of the event, but I want to point out that we expected about 100, 150 people to show up, and over 230 showed up. We had a reactor panel, and among the reactor panel was our own Reverend Amy, who, as usual, hit the ball out of the park. She was just outstanding, her comments. All of the ministers were there. But that's not why I'm up here. I want to thank people. In the 230 people, there were about 60 or 70 people from UCOF. You people really came out and supported us. I stood up here a number of times, and I knew I would get support. I knew Serena and I would get support, Serena, who worked on it with me. But this exceeded our expectations. People worked at the door. They helped out. They made contributions. This is more than what friends do. This is what family does. We are more than a group of friends. We're more than a group of people who come together on Sunday. We are a family. And on behalf of Serena and myself, I want to, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank every one of you who was there, contributed, or gave us some emotional support. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thank you, Rich, for your leadership in that area. We appreciate it. Now's the time to check your cell phones. Make sure they're silenced for the service. The cellist lighting I picked for today is one I found from Oberlin, Ohio, not from Massachusetts. We light this chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also, to be welcoming to whomever we meet, and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. I'm really honored and privileged to introduce our guest speaker today, the Reverend Fred Hammond from the Manatee UU Church. He was here a couple of years ago, and this is an encore performance for Reverend Fred. He graduated from Western Connecticut State University in Danbury, Connecticut, where he earned a BA and master's degree. In 2007, Reverend Fred earned his Master's of Divinity from Meadville Lombard. He then served 10 years as a settled minister of the UU congregation of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and probably learned how to say roll tide.
Roll Tide.
In 2018, he arrived in Bradenton to serve the Manatee UU Fellowship. And as I said, he was here a couple years ago. It's my great pleasure to welcome him back, Reverend Fred Hammond.
It is good to be with you. I was just thinking about the members of my congregation who are going back to Massachusetts this week. So we've got quite a few there as well. It must be the time of year, the perfect time of year. It is good to be with you again. Word is spreading about the strong shared ministry you are creating with Reverend Amy Shaw. Congratulations. Your ministry in Venice and beyond is a major blessing of hope in these unprecedented days of turmoil. Thank you for your presence in the world. My talk today is going to be about focusing on holding on and letting go. What should we hold on to? What are we ready to let go? How might we let go of the things that were precious and dear to our hearts but now seem burdensome? How might we hold on to the things of value when the world apparently doesn't value them anymore? So.
And welcome. Well, he'll be back later for much more. Our spotlight announcement today is a team that some of you take for granted, but we wouldn't be doing all this without them, and it's our audiovisual team.
I haven't been up here in a while to talk to you. So I want to give you, I'll try to keep it a short story. It was 2020. You all remember what year that was? Yeah. COVID. Well, I was on my way up north with my wife, Pat, and I said to her, don't hold me to this, but I'm thinking I may want to join this church. And she was very good about that. She didn't hold me to it at all, and the whole summer went by. And we're on our way back to Florida, and I said to her, well, it's time. I'm going to do it. So we got back here, went to see Cleaver Van Zandt, the minister, and I told him, I'm going to join the church. And of course, he said, that's great. And I said, and I used to work for Home Box Office. I was in electronics. And I thought maybe I could help you out with that. He rejoiced. And of course, at that time, there were no services in the church at all. And he and Dick Smith were setting up in the sanctuary here with a table and a small camera. And we had the pulpit sitting over in the corner here. This is before this was built like this. And we were recording the services on a Thursday morning and put it together and then sent it up to YouTube to be opened up at 10 o'clock for people to watch. And so that went on, this was in October, and this went on for a while, until finally the decision was made, we're going to go live with services at some point in the near future, but we need to be ready for it. So Dick and Kleber and I helped, started setting up, making arrangements, and we started setting up the camera system that you now see. Of course, you're watching the 2 TV sets, which were put in new, and if you turn around and look, you'll see me back there on that screen. And yes, that is what's going out live right now as we stream. And so the system was set up, and we worked off of, we had a table over in the corner over there, and not too long after that, when the building team came in and refinished the entire chancel here, they also built for us that booth over there. And of course, I've got to thank Dave Williams and Bob Knutson for doing such a great job. Barb Gundy, and I hear her brother was helping out also, paint it and get it ready. And it's been absolutely wonderful ever since. We had that next summer, when Pat and I again went north, we got a person to come in and actually do live camera for us. His name was Eddie Haynes, not the same Eddie you know now. And he did that for about a year until finally he said, no, he had a job waiting for him up in the Pittsburgh area, so he went up there. And I think it was Dave, not Dave, who got us a new Eddie for our camera team. Yeah, there's a play called Very Good Eddie. Well, I'd call this is very professional Eddie, and he's the one that you all know and love, who's been with us for a couple years. And what we do is we put together what people are going to see in the stream, what you're going to hear here. Eddie is a real professional at audio. He's a real professional at doing camera. Right now, he's off for 2 weeks, so I'm filling in, and I get it done, but it's not like what he does. And we're looking for more people. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I came walking by here, and Barb and Marsha were sitting in the front here, and I said, I'm looking for someone else to help out with this. And Barb says, I'll do it. I didn't even finish the sentence, and her hand was up already. And she has been absolutely marvelous in helping me out doing this. As a matter of fact, when I'm gone for the summer, she's doing most of it, as far as putting together the slideshows that you see here, setting up the system to go on YouTube. Her artistic talents are excellent, and I rely on her a lot for that. And at times when no one else is here, Eddie covers the whole thing, which I try not to do because I don't want to wear him out. But we're still looking for some more people. Now, I came in from an electronic background. You know, I'm not great at electronics, I just love them. But if anybody likes to play with computers, I mean, what we do does involve computers. And the person who does the slideshow is pressing a button there on a computer keyboard and changing from slide to slide. So it's as simple as that, where someone else has set it up and all they have to do is press a button. We're looking for people to help out with that. If you have any more interest in computers than that, and you know something about PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, on how to put together a slideshow, boy, we could sure use your help for that. Because we're not always allowed to be here. We have a life to lead as well. So we're looking for more people to help out. So think about it. If you have any interest, or even if you just want to see what we do, stop on by, talk to us. We'd love to show it to you. And yeah, we hope you might think about joining the AV team. Who Mo Morrison is, again, one of our helpers. She's excellent at pushing the buttons. And we're working with her because we have a memorial service coming up on Saturday for Grace Grote. And Mo was a very good friend of Grace's, and so we're going to work together on putting together that slideshow. And we hope to have this also streamed so that people can watch it at home if they can't make it here. So think about it. Even if you just like computers, come on by. Thanks a lot, and hope you'll join us.
Thank you, Tom, for all you do and all your team does. Well, it's time for our offering. Giving is a sacred practice. When you give to your church, you also receive. As usual, our offering words are offered with levity, because giving should always happen with a smile. So here we go. After dying in a car crash, 3 friends go to heaven for orientation. They are all asked the same question. When you're lying in your casket and friends and family are mourning over you, what would you like to hear them say about you? Well, the first guy immediately responds. He said, I'd like to hear them say that I was one of the great doctors of my time and a great family man. And the second guy jumped in and he said, I'd like to hear that I was a wonderful husband and school teacher who made a huge difference in the children of tomorrow. The last guy thinks for a moment and then he replies, I guess what I'd like to hear them say is, look, he's alive. This morning's collection will now be taken and gratefully received. Thank you all so much for your generosity and all you do to sustain the life of this congregation. A church is not a building, but the people. We come together to share our laughter and our tears. You can raise a hand and a microphone will arrive for you. Please be brief, be personal, and nonpartisan. Anybody want to share a joy or sorrow or a celebration? Marcia's coming down the aisle there.
Hi, I'm Manaldi Scanlon, and I have both a sorrow and many joys to share. The sorrow is that my husband Michael has been very, very ill for the last month, particularly in the last 2 weeks. But the joys have to do with this congregation. Reverend Amy was largely responsible for my getting him into an inpatient rehab where he's finally getting some treatment. Eileen Leapley organized people in this church to bring us meals when we were pretty desperate because Michael's the cook and he couldn't cook. To those of you who sent cards or messages or phone calls or visits, I cannot tell you how grateful I am. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Hector Malove, and I have kind of a silly joy. We, out of the blue, got the chance to rehome a little puppy. It's a Bichon Frise, 3 months old. So I have multiple cuts in my hands. She loves to chew, and she wants to get up at 3 in the morning and all those fun folk. But we love her. She's very loving, and it's a blessing in the midst of all the odd things going around. It just seems to be a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Jim Willott here. I have a sorrow and an anger, more anger than sorrow. We're very proud of our daughter-in-law, Danielle. About 15 years ago, she received her PhD from Oxford, and ever since has been working with various groups that foster human rights and social justice. She got her dream job at the State Department, Yeah, you know where this is going. Working for an office called Global Criminal Justice. You know what's going to happen with that. She just got word that she's being fired.
Anybody else have a joy? Yeah, Roger's here.
When I heard Church of Christ, it brought up a memory, and I wanted to, and I thought it might be useful to say something. Years ago, when we were sailing in Maine, we stumbled over Star Island, which was shared by the Church of Christ and the Unitarians. And I wanted to remind everybody that there's more than just Star Island. There's a bunch of places that, you know, camps and retreats and so on and so forth, you know, and I have been, my reminder to myself is to look into that, because, you know, we haven't really taken advantage of that again. And so it really, you know, our little visit there, our accidental visit was just terrific. We were really welcomed and everything. And so, you know, I'm not sure where you'd probably on the UU website or something like that, you'd find these places. But if you're looking for a great little vacation, you know, an adventure, I would encourage you to look it up.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kim McHugh. I have a couple of things I want to share because I've been away for most of this year, going back and forth to Rhode Island to help care for my mom. She passed away March 31st. I've gotten wonderful support from the congregation. And I was on the phone with a niece yesterday, and she was saying, you know what, Kim, people keep telling me they're so sorry about my grandma passing, and I have a hard time answering it because I'm not sad. It was the most kind and loving and experience full of grace. My mom said, you're all being so good, I'm going to be good too. She was in a hospital bed in her home, and I was holding her hand with my sister when she passed. So there were 42 of us at her service at a veterans cemetery out in the country, and it was all the people that she loved the most in life. It was very, very just excellent, a lot of good closure for all of us. So I want to thank all of you that supported me through this time, and my husband Matthew. And I also want to thank the women of Southwest Florida UUs. They throw a retreat up on the Manatee River once a year, and I had mentioned it earlier. 4 of us went last year, and I went April 11th to the 13th, right in the middle of coming back here and then having to go to Rhode Island to lay mom to rest. And those 2 days, or 2 nights and 3 days, with 50 UU women was just what I needed. So thank you all very much.
Anyone else?
Hi, I just want to thank Richard and Serena Canarelli so much for organizing this huge event yesterday on the threat of Christian nationalism for both our personal and spiritual and religious lives. And working with, again, with John Van Camp and the Social Justice Alliance for the Florida Suncoast, which everybody can join, and Americans United for Separation of Church and State, which we need more than ever now, and realizing this Christian nationalism has nothing to do with Christianity. It's all about power, period. Christianity is separate, and people don't realize that. So look up Christian nationalism and get involved, because this is what's influencing everything that's happening in this country right now. And I just want to thank Richard and Serena so much. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Kendra. I wanted to let you know, those of you who could not attend or did not attend, I brought some of the handouts. They are on the social justice table. So you're welcome to take them. They're pretty informative, I think, and will help you to really understand how it all started and what's happening. But we have to keep moving and fighting.
I also want to thank Rich and Serena. It's unfortunate we're not able to seat them together today. I'm not sure what that rule comes under, but that was a very impressive session yesterday. We
Anyone else?
Dick is on security duty, she says.
May the gratitudes and celebrations amongst us this day become a blessing to us all. May the concerns and sorrows of those be shared in all our hearts. A burden shared is a load lightened.
The reading this morning that I have is entitled Holding On and Letting Go, and it is by Amanda Pape. It's spring cleaning time, and all around me people are asking what sparks joy in their lives. I love this approach, and I can't possibly utilize it in my own house. You see, I live with 2 elementary-aged children, and their bar for hanging on to something is not, does this spark joy? But rather, is this shiny? Did I once make this? Did I once play with this for at least 3.5 minutes? And most importantly, can I cram this onto my dresser? Living with magpies, hoarders, or the shiny and the sparkly has its advantages. I never have to face a day without glitter, but an uncluttered house is not one of those advantages. As someone who likes clean surfaces, it's hard for me not to throw things away when my children aren't looking. Surely they won't remember the rock they picked up 4 months ago on the way home from school. Sigh, they always do. So I've learned to ask, are you ready to let go of this? I, of course, like the question because it assumes they'll be ready someday. They like the question because it doesn't assume that day is now. Isn't that always the way? We have all kinds of things in our lives, things that no longer spark joy, memories that make us sad, anger we're holding on to. Sometimes I know I'm hanging on to a part of my life that I'll eventually need to let go of, but not just yet. I can give myself the gift of patience, waiting until the moment is right to say goodbye to that old rock. There will be more space on the dresser top than for something new and glittery, or just for the smooth surface of possibility. Are you ready to let go of this? This 3rd grade book report, this broken pink headband, this grudge, this sorrow, this particular hope? When you're ready, you'll know it. Until then, it's okay to keep it just a little longer. Introduce the hymn. Do I do that?
Yeah, do the hymn.
We have a hymn in our blue hymnal, Fire of Commitment, 1028, all 3 verses. Please rise as you are able in body or spirit. Meditation on Letting Go by Carol Allman Morton. Many of us carry a burden of worry, anxiety over the state of the world, worries about money, about our environment, our families, about peace and justice. May we trust that nothing will get worse for us putting that burden down for a moment. May we let go of what weighs us down. May we find that we can set down worry for longer and longer periods of time. In our experience of letting go, may we be open to the possibility that we need not pick our worries back up. May we find passion and strength to work for change where we have the power to do so, and to let go where we do not. If not forever, let us put down any worries of anxiety for our time of quiet. Please join me in a minute of silent meditation, thought, or prayer. was lovely. My mother was a child of the Depression. She learned that a person may do with what they had and found new uses for the things that were worn. Hand-me-down clothes could be restyled to fit. Old screws and bolts were saved for an unknown project that may happen. Companies placed jams in glass jars that could be reused as glassware. Flour and feed bags were made with designs on them so the cloth could be used to make aprons, dresses, quilts. Nothing was cast aside without first being used for some other purpose several times. This generation held on to things because money was tight, so everything was repurposed for another use. When it was time for my mother to sell her house and move in with me, it was a difficult time for her. 63 years of living in the same house carried lots of memories. I know many of you are going through or have recently gone through or the downsizing of your living space, or maybe you're planning on downsizing your living space, and each item you hold has been touched by moments of the past. Some joyful, some painful, some bittersweet. What happens to that memory if the tangible is no longer there to remind you? I think this might be a fear that many of us have when letting go, the fear of losing a piece of who we are if we release some treasured item filled with memories. My mother made her letting go of things into a ritual. She still had my father's books from his business 40 years gone. She would share stories of the different customers who supported our family by using my father's skills as a mechanic. She then shredded the page. She kept all of her friends' obituaries, and she told stories of each of them, what their relationship meant to her, before tossing the paper away. It was a way of holding on and honoring their memory and letting go of the item that symbolized their memory. When my father died, his dog Bandon took it hard. My father died at home, and the dog witnessed the ambulance take him away. But my father's truck was still in the drive. When my uncle removed the truck a few days later, the dog collapsed, placing his head between his paws in grief, knowing my father was not coming back. As long as my father's truck was there, his death was not real to the dog. There was hope that he would return. I'm beginning to understand Bandon's feelings. It has been 8 months since my mother's death, and I still have not cleared out my mother's belongings from her bedroom. There is a sense of finality in my doing so. The grief I feel is still present. Holding on to these things is an attempt, albeit a feeble attempt, to hold on to her presence. Yet I am aware that at some point, the time to let go of her things is coming. There are many times when holding on isn't a feeble attempt. Back during the early days of the AIDS pandemic, I co-founded Interfaith AIDS Ministry in Danbury, Connecticut. There was a time in the history of that organization that it seemed we were simply struggling too hard to make it a go. Fundraising was difficult. We had not been able to receive sustaining grants to build upon. Our cash flow was more akin to cloudbursts over a dry riverbed than a steady stream. But there was something that kept me engaged in the vision of the work we were doing that told me to hold on. And hold on I did. The break we received was when the United Way decided to fund us. This was at a time when no United Ways were funding AIDS organizations. We were the first, and within the United Way network, it made news. And it opened doors for us to receive more funding from other grantors. Holding on yielded success. I believe we are in a time where the question before us is, what will we let go of and what will we hold on to as a nation? The contrast has never been sharper. Are we going to let go of white supremacy culture for more equity-based culture? Are we going to let go of idealizing the rich as fulfilling the American dream? Time will tell what this country will ultimately choose, but it seems there is a shift to at least wanting to let go of authoritarianism. Regardless of where this nation winds up, there are things as Unitarian Universalists that we need to hold on to, even if the evidence of these things is like waiting for that cloudburst over dry riverbeds. We need to hold on to our values of pluralism, because despite what is being said from Washington, it is our pluralism, our diversity that makes this a great nation. We must hold on to the history of those who sojourned through the fields, mountains, highways, and byways of this land. Those who traveled the trail of tears, those who toiled under slavery and fought for freedom from Jim Crow, those who were interred in camps because they were of Japanese heritage during World War II. We must ensure that the next generation coming up know their own inherent worthiness in all of their differences. Hold on to our values of pluralism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We must not let go of these, even as the thunderous roar urges us to do so. We must hold on to the values of generosity, our willingness to open our hearts to the songs of people's voices in pain, our generosity to love one another in such a way that it heals the brokenhearted. We must always hold on to generosity with a firm hand so we will be able to lift others up. We must hold on to the values of justice our democratic process needs to be held on to. People of all backgrounds need to be able to express their voice at the ballot box. We must hold on to the values of interdependence. We are more tightly entwined with one another than any of us imagine. What happens to one does indeed happen to the other. We need to be attentive to others' well-being because our well-being depends on it. We need to hold on to our values with a strong hand. I do not know what is in store for us in the days ahead. I am looking to the lessons of my mother's generation in living with less and holding on to the things of value. Blessed be. We let go of this flame, but not the warmth of fellowship, nor the strength that love provides one another. These we cherish as living heirlooms of our faith. Please join me in singing Spirit of Life, 123. Please rise in body or spirit.
Glory
now may our hearts continue holding on to the truth that love generously offered to others affirms powerfully the inherent worthiness of all we meet. Go in peace.